it starts off flat. As we sat in my dorm watching Game 5 of the 2018 World Series, my friend could not sit still. He kept shouting, "I need them to score a grand slam. I just need them to score." The Dodgers were losing 5-1, and he had been begging the baseball gods to allow them to tie it up and send the game to extra innings. The funny thing was, though, he wasn't even a Dodgers fan. He wasn't even a baseball fan. All he cared about was the score, and for good reason. As we sat there, I noticed he was half watching the game, half checking his phone. He continued to check his phone even though the screen didn't change. And as I looked over, all I could see on the screen was a large dollar amount and the score he had bet on. He needed the Dodgers to tie it up and the Red Sox to score another 2 for him to make any money. What an irrational concept this is. To bet real money on an exact score of a single baseball game. However, in the grand scheme of things, his behavior is not that strange. According to Anna Franka Watkins of the University of Maryland, human reasoning does not always adhere to the formal rules of logic. And now, to put this into perspective, let's take one of the most prestigious job titles and realize it's just glorified gambling. In an academic journal, Constantaris states, results suggest that retail trading in the stock market exhibits significant incidents of compulsive behavior, about 11.2% across diverse stock market environments. Now, I found this fact to be really important because we wouldn't naturally make this connection between gamblers and stock market and their compulsive behavior. And I think that numbers and statistics are the same, as they're not always as sound as we may think when we first think about them. Despite being everywhere, these numbers and statistics don't really have a big emphasis placed upon them in like an academic sense. We weren't really forced to learn about them and their importance. However, this is beginning to change. As Anil Gore writes in a book review, it is sometimes argued that in addition to the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, in modern times, one needs basic familiarity with statistics. Now, I think the emphasis he places on statistics is very valid, because behind every event is a series of numbers, and these numbers set the foundation of our deeper understanding of these events. And as I said earlier, though, some of these may seem really irrational. Let's take the Monty Hall problem. According to Gerard Neos of the University of Hawaii, it seems to have been first reported in 1959 as the 3 prisoners paradox. However, in reference to the television game show Let's Make a Deal and the host Monty Hall, which were both popular in the 60s and 70s, the game was later designated as the Monty Hall problem in 1975 in an attempt to modernize this perplexing phenomenon.
I think.
In a Classroom Ideas article, Robinson Ritchie explains it as, a contestant on Let's Make a Deal is given the choice of 3 doors to open. Behind one door is the contestant's dream car. Behind the other 2 doors are zonks, which is what the show called undesirable prizes. The contestant picks a door, say number 1, and Monty Hall, who knows what is behind the doors, opens another door, say number 3, which has nothing behind it. He then offers the contestant the option to switch to door number 2. This is the problem. Is it to the contestant's advantage to switch the choice from door 1 to door 2? By a show of hands, who would keep their original door? Okay, that's like 6 people. So, it seems by doing this, all the host is doing is making you second guess your first choice. And from a basic math standpoint, possibly just rearranging the statistics. Because when you first have a choice of 1 door out of 3, you have a 33% chance of randomly guessing it. And now that he's eliminated a door, it seems as though there's a 50-50 shot of guessing right. So when you look at it like that, there doesn't seem to be an answer whether you should stick with the door or change, and most people would stick with their gut. However, the answer to the question is actually switch doors. Always switch doors. So, when you first are asked the question. You have a 1 1/3 chance that your door is the correct door. And there's a 2/3 chance that it's behind one of the other doors. But since Monty opens one of the other doors and reveals that there's nothing behind it, that 2/3 now concentrates on the other door that hasn't been opened. Because to begin with, that door had a 2/3 chance of having the actual car. So when you look at it like this, you realize it's twice as likely now that the car is behind door 2 and there's nothing behind door 1. So after looking at it like that, it becomes clear to switch. But this may still be confusing, so to put it further in perspective, let's pretend you start with 100 doors. And you choose door 1 from the beginning again. And after you choose door 1, Monty opens 98 of the other 99 doors to reveal there's nothing behind it, leaving only your door and let's say like door 42. One of them has the car, one of them has nothing. When you started, you had a 1% chance of being right. And he knew what was behind every other door and opened all the doors he knew didn't have the car. So that one door that's left, you can almost feel the 99% probability of the car being behind that door. Now, you may be wondering my reason for connecting my gambling friend to this problem. And it's because I feel they share an intriguing connection. They both somewhat display how everything is without rhyme or reason, how everything in this world seems very random and complex, how everything just seems improbable and unlikely, not something we would think about immediately. However, with more glances, I think we realize that a lot of things turn out to be perfectly imperfect. I think if we begin to pursue a deeper understanding of the underlying numbers behind everything, then we are able to pursue a deeper understanding of the things made up of them. In the book Chance, Alex Stone states, "Statistics are humanity's attempt to understand the uncertainty of the universe." And more importantly, Elizabeth Segal's social empathy reminds us, understanding and helping others are essential to our collective well-being.